Thank you very much, Rob. These are unprecedented times for people all over the globe. Our lives disrupted. Athletes are no different, having lost the ability to compete and train like they normally would. I discussed the mental health side of this with Dr. Jarrod Spencer, sports psychologist and author of Mind of the Athlete, Clearer Mind, Better Performance. Here is part one of that conversation. We'll start off with mental health as a whole here during the COVID-19 pandemic. We obviously have an idea of what the physical toll is, what those numbers are, but to you, what has the mental toll looked like so far?
It's been huge, and there's really three aspects of the pandemic. The first is obviously the virus. The second is the economy. The third is, in my opinion, unbelievably significant, but not talked about quite as often, and that's the mental health aspects. And so clearly we are seeing a rise of depression, anxiety, strained relationships, drug abuse, and it is far more significant than people realize.
And when we talk about sports specifically, that's always been one way that we've been able to combat some of those problems in our lives, athletes and fans. For athletes at every level, the coronavirus pandemic is severely limiting the amount they can compete. So when an athlete loses that catharsis and the longer it goes, how likely is it that the emotional obstacles that you just mentioned began to set in, and what would some of those problems be?
Well, you just said the key word, Dan, and that is catharsis. And so we need to emote. We need to release the repressed emotion, which is the definition of catharsis. And so athletes without that ability to emote, what ends up happening is this. Depression is hurt held inward. And if they're just holding in this emotional hurt without their typical release of tension and stress, then what we can see is it can lead them to a lot of negative thinking and lack of energy, depressed mood. And so we are seeing right now increased depression. Now, the first wave of this whole pandemic was producing of anxiety, but right now it's more depression. And essentially what we've got to do is give the athletes more tools for their mental toolbox to manage this new reality.
All right, and we're going to continue this conversation with Dr. Spencer, a 5-part series all week. We're going to open that toolbox that he just talked about tomorrow night at 10 as we explore some of his methods and recommendations.